If you're a fan of Spider-Man and Into the Spider-Verse, you've probably been wondering when you'd be able, to animate Spider-Man doing something cool. Well, how about today? How about we animate a dynamic Spider-Verse jump? Not too crazy hard, not too easy, still cool. Welcome back to the 28-day animation challenge. At the time of this recording, it's been a bit since our last challenge. The summer for me occupied my time a lot with kids, and that combined with the animation courses in animation school that I'm running, it just kept me too swamped. But my schedule now is freeing up to continue this, and I will do so all the way to day 28, so don't worry. That said, day 11 today is gonna be all kinds of thwipping fun though, so let's swing into it. Ba-dum-boom. By the way, if you have no idea what the animation challenge even is, you can just click the card up here. The challenge intro will give you all the details you need to know to catch up to speed. So today we're gonna kick off the Spider-Verse jump, and to make this polished jump here, we're going to start today with this. Meaning we'll be planning and blocking it all out, and I think you're gonna learn a lot from this entire process, not just today, but for today specifically. I think you'll see how you can plan a shot without shooting reference, how you can also build a lot more confidence in your timing and spacing quickly while you're still in step mode, amongst other things. So let's start this planning off. So I have in mind this idea for doing a cool but simple idea for Spider-Man jump, something that's very Spider-Man-y, and I think we start with him kind of on the ground. Maybe that's a little too big. I'm probably gonna do some really terrible scribbly drawings. That'll probably only make the most sense to me. That's frequently, I think, how planning goes for a lot of animators. No one else really necessarily needs to see your planning a lot of the time. But I think we're gonna go with that classic Spider-Man pose where he's got those feet kind of together. The feet are together, the legs, the knees kind of come out, and close around the arms, the hands down on the ground, and he's kind of got like a curl in his back. Kind of hard to draw it that way here. I actually want to turn him more 3/4 here, but my drawing skill isn't there, or at least I wasn't thinking about it drawing this one. Yeah, so I think he's gonna start in that classic like Spider-Man perched pose, and then we're gonna end up with him. He's gonna hold this for a bit. He's probably gonna be looking to the left somewhere at the start of this, so we could just kind of redraw that. Try to draw some eyes in there really quick, or at least like the hint of him kind of looking to the side, hopefully. I'm gonna put a little bit more weight on this side. So we can put in like these finer details of the posing when we get in with the rig, since I'm not that awesome at drawing. I'm not a 2D animator. So he's probably looking off to the left here, and then there's going to be a hole at the beginning, and then he'll turn to notice something over here, and then he will get up from this position. And I think we're gonna have some sort of like, as he's in this pose, he'll probably back up and kind of dip down before he launches into the air. So he's gonna jump from here. There's gonna be definitely gonna be a stretch pose at some point with his arms. Right now, they're just out in front of him, kind of like this. They're not crisscross or anything, but as he jumps, I'm gonna have them crisscross, I think. And that's a lot to do with the pose that we're gonna go into. So there's gonna be a stretch here from this squash. I'm imagining that this is from the side, like he's really crunched, right? He's really squashed here. With his feet underneath his hips. something like this, and then those hands down, right? And then he's gonna really launch up into the air here, and we're gonna get into some kind of pose at the top of the arc that is similar to that initial pose where we get that C curl, and I think we'll probably have like a leg like this here, probably another leg here, and he's gonna crisscross his arms to do like a web shoot. So I'm just thinking of like fun ways for him to do a web shoot. He could do it like this, it's a little boring, but I think I'm gonna crisscross the arms to do a web shoot. I'm gonna try to angle it so that, you know, when we do our posing inside of Maya, that they're relatively facing straight from the direction that he is facing. Yeah, just drawing wise, terrible stuff for my posing right here. Really messy drawing today. But something like that, some kind of like crisscross for those arms, and they're shooting the web, they're fully extended straight. And my thinking there is I'll probably scale those hands to like double size for one frame as they're kind of flicking out, so that we can really see that happen as he's doing all this action. Might curl him a little bit more, make him a little bit more engaged into the web shot here. And then I'm thinking he will, like I called out earlier, he'll be crossing his hands on the way up. He's gonna have a fair amount of hang time to kind of shoot the web and kind of hold there and let the web kind of attach to whatever is gonna be off screen. And then, so we're gonna have a lot of hang time, and then when that web catches, he's gonna pull on that to continue to really jumpstart his web swinging, right? So it's like he's going from a standstill, building up speed, and then he's gonna leap through New York City or whatever. So here, kind of like on takeoff, I'm imagining those arms are already like crossing over each other as he takes off. Get a full extension on those legs, which means he might even go higher than what I have here. We'll have the head lead, I think, this on the way up, so it's really his upper body just extends first, and then his legs and everything catch up later. And the hang time here is going to help us to see those arms kind of, because they're going to come up like this and crisscross, kind of stay in that cross. So there's going to be a bit of a L-shaped bend in that arm as he comes up here, is what I'm thinking. And we're going to need that hang time to really see that. So as he's here, he'll be hanging here for a bit. I imagine he's going to, when he reaches his high point, he's been hanging. He's not just gonna be like staying perfectly up the whole time. So we're gonna have him start to fall essentially. He'll be falling a little bit as he hangs here, and we can exaggerate this because he's Spider-Man. But he's gonna be hanging here and then holding this pose. And my thinking is, as he pulls, well, let's go with the final pose. So he's shooting web that's gonna pull him off screen, and I'm gonna want to get him off screen really quickly. So I'm thinking like somewhere right around here, we're gonna get a reversal where he's like really straight, kind of tucked in like an airplane or a rocket flying off screen. And we'll probably get him off screen faster than this. We'll probably have him bigger in frame, so he won't have so much space to cover anyway. And we want to get some power into this change of shape. We got a good idea, I think, here with reversing this. And I think the way we go for it here is we're going to have the head lead this action. So basically his head starts diving down as the rest of his body tries to stay behind. I think his arms are going to go from this straight to pulling on that web. So it's going to be something like this. That might be a little fast. Might be coming back a little bit quick. We do want it to be a quick pull. And then I would say his legs are probably going to start to drop. Kind of hard to draw that perspective, but they're going to start to drop probably to help kind of kick as he pulls. And I should have moved this drawing a little bit over and a little bit down because he looks like he's stationary between these two. Limitations of Sync Sketch and me not being a 2D animator. But anyway, so he's gonna pull on this, his head's gonna start to dive down. And then there's gonna be definitely a shape somewhere right here in our breakdown where we're kind of getting close to this. I don't want him to dive too much, so I don't want him to feel like he's diving for the floor. So I think he's getting this shape, and then we're probably gonna have something like that as the rest of the body tries to catch up as he goes. So hopefully now you can kind of see how that could connect. We could depending on how far he goes, we can have some crazy smear on the legs and things as this transitions. Maybe the legs haven't fully extended or they're close by this point. It's going to be a lot of the arms and him diving with the chest that sells the idea here, I think. And somewhere in there we'll move forward really quickly. There's going to be a lot of acceleration here. Those legs will be really behind. So this is going to be, I think there's going to be a really strong stretch there. We'll have to play around with how much is too much or not enough, of course. But I think that gets him moving. Right, so we just play that out. You can kind of feel that, I think. I think that, yeah. I think it's going to work nice with that hang time. We have that hold and then that quick pull here. Trying to think like Spider-Man, trying to think about what do we do when we're in the air hanging, and how would it be if we shot, some web out. And as he shoots the web, it's going to come out, I would say, very loose. Right, and probably have like a flare out of the webbing here from both slightly different directions. And then like during his pull on it, of course he's going to be pulling it taut, so it's a straight line. And we can do that, it's kind of like what I'm doing here, or we could do that in 2D. To do 2D effects, we could even do the same for the smears on top of our 3D animation. But there's other ways to do it too. So we could put in actual geometry, and Kyle Figgins, who I'll link to in the description, has a not only does he have a Spider-Man rig that's for free, but there is a web rig that you can bring into Maya. But if you're not using Maya, of course, you just get inventive in other ways to show the web stuff if it's not built into whatever rig you're using or how you're animating. So I think that's that's a really rough plan. That's a really rough like sketches, but I think that is our main idea with this, and I think that's enough to just go ahead and dive in. I mean, I always recommend, you know, especially with some character like Spider-Man, taking time to look at all the reference that's out there in the video games and movies and stuff, because there's so much. The comic books have a lot of great posing. The movies and the games have a lot of animation that you can frame by frame to get ideas, especially if you get stuck on like, how do they solve Spider-Man hanging in the air for an extra amount of time? How do they sell him getting power out of shooting webs in the air and then pulling on it when he's just flying, right? Essentially, he's gliding. So all that stuff can be really, really handy. But anyway, we'll now jump into Maya and start bringing it to life. Now inside of Maya, I've gone ahead and set up a basic scene with a ground plane here for Spider-Man to stand on, or a cube rather. Some quick selection sets, position him roughly where I want him to be. Actually, I didn't move him, I've moved the camera. And so I made a shot camera with safe action here and a gate mask. All it is just kind of hiding everything from view. I've gone in and adjusted the camera to have overscan, so it fills the viewport here with what we see in camera. Overscan here. I've changed the focal length to 50, which you know, may change as we go forward and see how our poses work in camera view. I've also gone ahead and changed this gate mask color so it kind of obscures things more. I can make it more intense. I don't need it like completely black, but we can get close to that just so we don't see the other missing parts that won't show up anyway. I made sure my overscan is set to 1 here so it really fills this viewport, in case you didn't know about that setting or the other ones. And I've adjusted the film aspect ratio to match my HD 1080 resolution here by copying this over. So that's a quick way to set up the camera. And then one simple thing that's easy to forget or easy to just completely miss out on, not even thinking it's going to be a thing, is the fact that I've left the character at origin. And so he's facing the camera and just able to go straight ahead with one axis, translate Z, as opposed to if I had him turned to kind of get that 3/4 view and kind of go this way. You know, this says it's going to go and just translate Z, but really, if you look at the live object axis, it's a combination of X and Z to go straight ahead then. Okay, so I've left him at origin to keep it simple while animating, just have him go one direction. And I've had the camera set up the angle that's appealing. With the camera, like I said earlier, we're probably going to adjust it as we go once we see how these key poses are looking. I want it to really feel like Spider-Man gets closer to camera, so he shouldn't look this small the whole time. And like we may change the angle to be a little bit closer to front on so he can kind of whip right by us. And maybe we can drop the camera down to kind of look up at him more, but I do want to see, I think, this ground that he's standing on. So with that said, let's go ahead in here and start posing him out based off our planning. And I'll probably swap back and forth between the perspective and checking the main camera. I've got IK set up on these arms. Links in the description, by the way, for the rig in case you don't know where to find it. And we're not using the web rig yet, but I'll link to that and we'll talk about that more later. So I got IK on the arms and the feet, or the hands and the feet, because he's going to be using both of them planted on the ground, so they need to stay where they are as he moves until he jumps. And one thing with that on this rig anyway is if you go to the arm controls, you know, this is how you turn them to IK from FK. But the other thing that's really important here is the IK reference. Make it global so that the IK is in global space for those arms or those hands. Otherwise, they will move around when you move the cog, right? It'll try to follow the spine or something instead of the Maya space. And that's just set up by default this way, so it took me a minute to find it on this rig since I'm not familiar with the rig. And then make sure your IK rotation is set to the IK controller itself. So by default, they had it set up so that you had to translate this cube and then rotate this guy to get the rotations that you want. So I like it all on one controller, at least for this simple stuff. So now let's pose him out. Remember our first pose was that classic Spidey pose where he's kind of crouched down on his, almost on his heels or close to them. I think he's going to be a little bit, his hips would be a little bit further back, but he'll be very, very low to the ground. And not that familiar with the, like I said, the controls on this rig, but we're going to, I think this, yeah, this raises the heel up, kind of keeps the toes on the ground. So I'm gonna raise them up quite a bit. So he's on the ball of his foot. And then I think we need to hide, I'll just hide the cube. Let's see if I can rotate just with this controller here. So I don't have to rotate the whole foot controller. So we're gonna kind of have those heels touching almost. You can bring this one back some. I don't mind them being a little bit different than each other, even though the pose is pretty symmetrical. So they're kind of touching there. I'll bring that back. Maybe scoot that over. Yeah. And let's see what the cog, do we want to rotate this way with it? I could have maybe a little. And then as far as the knees go, let's have them up and forward here and probably out to the side. They should be following what those feet are doing. Knees pointing in the direction of those feet. And then let's give him some curvature here. I think I'll just make a quick spine control by itself. Quick select, I mean. So I'm just gonna curl all that, try to curl him down relatively quickly. Curl, tuck his hips in. Maybe he's a little too low. Too far back, definitely. I think I can push him, keep him low here. And then for his IK arms, I'm gonna bring them forward, down, so that they're on the ground as well, supporting him if he really needs them. And I don't want that 90-degree angle on that wrist. Even though he's touching the ground, the finger's gonna do a lot of work there. Okay, so we're bringing those down somewhere right around there. Real quick. And rotate it over. Have those hands kind of touching there on the ground. I don't know if that's too low yet. Fingers will take a while to pose just because there's so many controllers to finagle. And I don't mind spending extra time on my key poses to get them looking right because it's what everything is based off of. And these are the poses we're really going to see in the animation. Kind of use this. I'm just experimenting with some of these controllers, and this one's a neck IK, which I'm not used to using a neck IK. But I'm trying to rotate with it and kind of move it where it needs to be so I don't have to worry about selecting all those neck controllers and making them play nice together. So kind of bringing his head up. Use some head rotation here, of course, to look up. So he's like looking out at the city. Need those shoulders, those, in this case, It kind of looks like it's on the, in this rig, it's on the clavicle, but it's the shoulder controller. I want those shoulders coming forward. Here. And bring the knees in a little, I think. Okay. I put that ground cube in. So now he's already starting to look like he's in that Spidey pose, that classic Spidey pose, I think. Not too bad. It's okay from camera. I think I'll have him look a little bit to the left. Maybe he's looking down into the city. Don't want him to look like he's looking at camera. It's kind of a little tricky because he doesn't have pupils, so it's easy to think he's looking at us when he may not really be that on target. We could make this a little asymmetrical in the back, but the pose is pretty symmetrical. Like we want equal distribution on the feet and everything. Let me go ahead and mess around with these hands here. So to put pressure on the fingers, we'll need to bend them down towards the ground. Like this one's touching the floor. And then bend back somewhat. Oops. Kind of see if we bring that somewhere there. And then bring this up. That's looking pretty broken, like it's too much pressure. And I think that's looking like it's a lot more in contact with the ground and helping support his balance. So we just need to do the same thing with the other hand. I'll just speed that up so we can get to the next pose. You don't have to watch all the clicking of the different controllers to get them into position, because you just saw me do it on the other side. Alrighty. So we're gonna have him hold at the opening of this shot. He's going to be holding, looking off to the side, and then he's going to turn and notice. The idea is he turns and notices some problem in the distance. Okay. I'm going to rotate the... that wasn't keyed either. Okay. I'm gonna rotate this neck over here. We'll see if we can keep using this IK neck, and that'll be all we need. I'm gonna tone the head rotation down So we get this look up. Spidey sense tingling. We'll create some more change in the body here shortly for these holds, but I'm just kind of putting that as a placeholder now. And so he's gonna hit this and hold for a bit, and then hold that for a second so we can read that, and then he will leap into the air. So let's get the leap in the air pose, because that's actually pretty similar to our crouch position at the moment. So he comes up, he comes over. It's gonna be up pretty high. Maybe he doesn't come so far forward yet. And we save that for later. For when he's really pulling on the web. And here I'm gonna go and key. Yeah, these guys need to be included in this, which I thought they were. So key all this because we've got that IK-FK switch. And just see if that got keyed. Okay, cool. So now he's in the air. We're gonna go pretty much FK on everything from here on. Even the takeoff pose is gonna be that way. This is all FK. And now let's go ahead and get a... I've just got my sketches pulled off here to the side just to refer to what I was after. So we're gonna have a crisscross arm scenario. And we'll probably have this leg up. Probably a bit off to the side here. And then this leg will be similar, but I think we'll keep it lower. It's kind of hanging back maybe a little bit more. Something, trying to make it dynamic, you know. And then here, we'll bring this forward, kind of twist this around. Here. So we're getting something like that. I think I'm gonna try to keep it to the side-ish. Maybe that's good to camera. And I'll keep this, yeah. Gotta really bring them over a lot to get the crisscross thing with these arms here. Maybe I can keep this one kind of tilted a little to keep it more silhouette wise so we can see more of that arm than like if I do this, it flattens it out. And then getting these really busted shoulders. Not sure much I can do about that, it looks like. Maybe there's some extra controllers that help us with shaping that I can turn on this rig. I'll have to search for it. These shoulders weren't getting keyed on this all select. Man, I guess I can't just select everything at once and hope it's there. Didn't notice this problem before. Maybe it's rig specific or an update. Anywho, hopefully you're not having that issue as you make your all selects. And in terms of the shoulder, we're going to keep investigating how we can get rid of this pinching that's happening on the shoulder blade there. I don't think I can, doesn't seem like I can really affect it much with this shoulder controller here. So I'll leave them kind of hunched forward here for now. Gonna leave him hunched forward here. Very similar. Yeah, I think he'll still be looking up to see where he's shooting. Maybe the hip is a little more tucked, so maybe now we get kind of this compression here to really squash him, because Spider-Man will squash down on himself quite a lot. He's very flexible. And let's key these, make sure that's good. We did 12, 20, 30, so you just easily remember where those were. So now that's there, and I'm just gonna quickly pose the fingers to get our Spider-Man, typical Spider-Man pose. Let's curl these guys in, like so. I don't think there is a quick curl on these fingers, so. Pretty similar to what we need. Just dial it down a little bit. Extend that out from the wrist. And then similar deal here with this thumb. I think yeah, he has that wrap around these two fingers. That's where it really helps to have all your comic reference too, if it's not just on the, you know, something you remember off the top of your head, how all of his fingers line up for like his web shot pose. Thankfully I did enough of that as a kid. Okay, so that's there. Hopefully that is keying everything I need correctly. It's staying there, and then it stays there, so perfect. Great, so now we have our web shooting pose. Gotta make this look really good to camera though, and at least at the moment that arm looks pretty janky and it's hard to see this one silhouette wise, so we may end up cheating that a bit. This arm looks all messed up from this position, so. Looks better there. Really just loses its volume here. I think camera-wise, we might go a little bit to the right. I don't think that's necessarily gonna help us with this arm though. So silhouette-wise, I think we're gonna rotate. Can we do like a world rotation? Just kind of shift this whole thing over to the side here. That's helping. And then the wrist. Let's try and open it up here. Maybe bring this down as well. Yeah. Kind of like the wrist out a little bit more, I think. Don't want weird tangents with the fingers, still want to need the silhouette there. I think that's okay. Maybe have it more like this. Shoulder still looks pretty broken. but oh well. And then actuality, now that I'm doing all this, I should have played with the spine here first, because I want to get some shape in here. To kind of curve his back to one side. Get a little bit of breathing room there on the finger so that it reads, because we're going to be holding this pose for a bit as he hangs. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. And this curve here is, you know, a C shape this way, reverse C, and then when he pulls, we're going to flip it. Just to try to get a little bit more dynamic posing there. And I'm gonna have to lift this side. Those hips as well. Because he's got this leg up high. It's not ideal for the fact that he's going that way, but it's all right. Maybe I open the leg up. I think he feels a little bit more squashed. You can kind of use this leg to like hide that shoulder, maybe cheat that conveniently. I don't know. We'll see if we can fix it as well. And then, like, this is not necessarily the best silhouette for that foot, that leg. But it does give it the sense that he's squashed up, which is the most important thing here. So he's shooting the web, and then he's going to be taking off. So we'll get a pose here where he comes forward. By 50, he'll be gone. So he's coming forward. He's going to be down a little bit because he's going to drop as he's hanging. But he's going to be coming forward pretty quickly. And he'll have his arms back. Might just go neutral spine real quick. Kind of flatten him out. Bring the cog like this. Bring his legs back. So he's really flying here. Arms will be back. Go work on this pose here. Just a ton of controls to look at all the time. Not really worried about gimbal because I know I can just change the rotate order. And here, or something like this, we're going to be tucking these arms in like he is a missile. Bringing them back. Shoulders will come back as well. Should have done those first. think I'll just take these finger controls and default them. Can fiddle more with that later. Oh man, the shoulders nowhere near the same. And then we're gonna add that opposite C shape here from this angle. Just keep it simple and set up that curvature throughout the body. So he's not perfectly straight. He's got a curve to him, right? And at this point, he will have head up, probably looking at where he's going. And maybe the chest a little as well. So in here, we could like angle him down and then bring him up. Better. My neck is weird. Weird. How's that look in camera view? Okay. Could probably grab the cog and just kind of tilt the whole thing to the side a little bit. So kind of seeing Spider-Man a little bit more there. It's kind of cool. Adding like a little bit of twist through here. Okay. So we'll go with that. I think he's looking pretty much like a missile there. And maybe we bring like this arm up just for the camera. Can play around with that once it's in motion, I think. But that's a good like fly pose for him. So he looks up. Yeah, his neck's all messed up here too. I think we just had that on default and was using the IK. Yeah. 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 Okay, so he's looking around in the beginning, just looks to the side, looks, that look up is not accurate there. And then he jumps, web shoots, flies, and those arms happen to be in auto changing for some reason there. Just keep those back in step. Okay. And we need a few frames for him to be gone, so he's gonna get off screen, I think, in a couple of frames here. And he'll probably keep dropping maybe just a little through here, not much. And we'll have to adjust his limbs and everything to have like a little bit of feeling of drag as he zips forward. And now we just have one pose that's, to me, really missing to sell the idea here. And then we can add some of the hang time and work out the holds more as he looks, and the anticipation for his jump and all that. But I think we really need, I'm gonna go ahead in here and put it on 2025. We really need to have his stretch pose up. So I'm gonna do that now. And I will just neutralize the spine. I'll zero out the shoulders as well. So that's all good. I think we're gonna be FK arms here. And with that, we'll bring them down. I think they're already gonna be starting to crisscross here. As he takes off. I don't have stretch built in. I can't use stretch on this FK. I could stretch like that, but that's a little weird. So I think I will just go here and actually keep the IK on for the moment and see if I can work with that. Hog's definitely coming forward. It's coming up over this. I'm gonna crisscross him on the way up. At least starting to. And then zero this stuff out here and see if I can control this neck a little bit better. Probably have a bit more drag here. These shoulders will definitely be down, dragging. Arm's gonna pick up kind of quickly though, so I'll keep playing around with this, how fast they come up. Want to slide that thing back, knowing that he's not like coming forward so much here at the beginning, but we can do a little bit of that. And we would really roll up on these tippy toes here. And rotate that out. Rotate that. Super push, super stretched, but we're just supposed to feel this, not see this pose. We're gonna see it a lot right now, but that'll look better later. I'm gonna copy, I think, or I'll just make it default. That's what I'm gonna do. Copy 42 to 25. If I can. I kind of want to bring the body back a little so we can make those arms pick up a little bit smoother. How's that look in camera view? Cool. So that's kind of blocked out our storytelling idea. From here, rather than go into working on our eases, our hang time, and our holds, what I'm first going to do is work out the timing, the spacing of this, so that I get the pop-up, I get my anticipations, I get my hang time, and then the how quick he zips across the screen. I really want to get that feeling in there rather than going too deep in all the keys on Spider-Man first and figuring out where he really needs to be. So I'm going to now animate a sphere, just almost like a bouncing ball, right? Representing the hips of Spider-Man, and I might make it scale it up to be a little bit bigger, but I'll animate a sphere to figure out that timing and spacing. And that's going to be a really great guide for us for all of our keys, like the hang time of that jump, of how long he needs to be shooting the web, waiting, dropping, and then how fast he zips out of that. So We're gonna work that out next. Are you having fun with this Spider-Verse jump so far? I hope you are. By the way, if you are very serious about your animation skills and you want to become a pro in movies or games, unlock Pro Mode if you haven't already. What is Pro Mode? Pro Mode is going to give you harder challenges that build off the ones you're doing here on YouTube right now so that you can become a pro faster. But it's only available for the serious animators that decided to go for it and unlock it via email. This is free to do though, so if you're game, there's nothing to hold you back. Just go to unlockpromode.com and I'll see you soon. So now we're gonna create that sphere. Just go to Polygon Primitives and grab a sphere. And then I'm gonna move this to be up here, large enough in size that it's closer to what Miles is here for his hips. And I'm gonna work out some animation here to figure out how to figure out all the timing and spacing here, squash and stretch, maybe a little bit for Miles. Oops. Do that a bit. Let's see, we're in this opening position. I think we can hold that for 6 frames minimum is probably good to like have him looking somewhere. And I think I'm gonna have this kind of going back a little bit, maybe a little bit down, just a subtle little move. We can probably even be more subtle than that, but then I'll let's see, where does he jump up here? We're going to transition from this hold to the next look, which is going to be, I have a keyframe just to get here on 12, but I think we can do it kind of on 10. So I'll probably shift him to the left, and maybe here he's going to the right, or nah, it's probably too many shifts if I, and then I'll bring him down, kind of anticipating the jump, and I'll bring this down, bring this forward, kind of like to roll him into the jump. And then I think here I'll just have this split the difference there. Just kind of yeah, I want this to go further back. Bigger move, maybe down a little bit more. I'm just really watching this crosshair here. Go ahead and start arc tracking this so you guys can see maybe a little bit better what I'm thinking. Maybe that's too low here. That's something we're going to be able to feel out a lot easier when we put this on the rig. And then I think just a couple of frames we can get up in the air pretty quickly. Let's bring him up. I got him going about this high.
Let's set that up. And then he's going to be off screen over here. And so we want to favor this quite a lot. So I'm going to say we get up there really quickly. And we don't, with this translate Z, I'm going to keep the speed relatively steady going forward. So I'll do the same thing here. And then let's really favor that up and down. We'll bring this back because that won't make a lot of sense. And he's gonna really slingshot here. Probably have to bring that back. I'm looking at this temperature on the arc tracker, which is nice for Anabot. It kind of tells me that. And I can tell that the spacing, if it's red here, this spacing means that it's covering more ground than this orange section here. The warmer it is, the bigger the spacing. So something like that. Not sure why I'm getting stepped curves there all of a sudden. Let me go ahead and auto tangent that, see how that feels. And of course we're taking too long here. And we're taking too long, I think, on the other side. Pop up a lot faster here. And then let's go into the graph editor. I think I'm gonna hide Spider-Man here really quick. Let's see. A quick way that I can do that, hopefully. Can I just hide this stuff? Nope. I will just go here and hide them like that for the moment as we sort out this timing. So we've got this weird, right now we've got this hitch right through here where things suddenly just accelerate a lot more. I don't really want a strange slowdown in the top of the jump that's happening right here. So I need it to continue going forward. Not really being slow here. Going a lot more vertical there. And then we don't want it to slow down as it leaves. So it should get much faster as he zips away. So I'm just making sure that speed really increases here. Might be like a subtle increase here. Like this is a lot more in line with this key, and then this ramps up in speed, and then this gets a little bit faster. Definitely a lot faster right through the middle there. So I like that. That's a decent start. I think we can get faster on the exit. I don't know if I want him coming forward so much through here. So I'm gonna bring this back, and then bring this back as well. So there's a little bit of back and forth play here, and that's what I expect. That's what I want with this ball, because it allows me to quickly keep making adjustments to the overall speed of things without having to worry about all the controls that I get on the Spider-Verse rig. Right, getting lost potentially within all of that. I don't want him moving a lot through here. Like I want him to go up vertically really quickly, but I don't want him to go forward so much. And I think I'll remove some time through the beginning. Probably bring this out a little. Yes, it's creating step keys because yeah, I had my settings there. So you're gonna have to swap back and forth there on that. And then the speed's funky here. Just wanted to look like he pops up, hangs, and then he goes. Definitely think there's a drop off here. And then let's see if we can get the speed sorted out here. Okay, so you should be pretty fast there, and then we need to continue being fast here. He'd lose a little bit of height through here, but I think the pull and like potentially pulling up on the web swing, he might come back up a little bit. He'll through hang time waiting for the web shot to stick to where you can pull on it. He'll be dropping and then he'll yank on it and then he'll kind of come up a little bit, I think, depending on where he has that. So we'll add some little verticality change through here. Yeah, it's got fun zip through. Could potentially even make it faster through here. Especially if we're doing like stretches and stuff. Smears. It's just reading a lot more straight now when I play that back, so I added some more verticality through there. Okay, so he's gone pretty fast. That key won't matter really because it'll be off screen. So hopefully you're following along with what I'm doing here. Just working out my timing on the holds. I think here too, I'm gonna add maybe like a little bit more to screen right. And then as he comes back down and around, we're gonna have like a little bit of a weight shift here as well. So like some side to side motion, right? Kind of coming over here. And as we come back, we'll continue some of that. So just creating some tiny arcs there for while we're holding. I think that'll make it feel a lot more organic as he's holding those poses. And then he'll really anticipate down and to the left here. I think that'll be okay. Let's check some of the curve stuff here. It's a little wonky. There's a little bit of hesitation I'm feeling. From here to here. And that's just because it's moving a little too much. And so right through here-ish, we could get a stretch. Maybe we rotate. And we can move the pivot point on this. Turn further back. Ah, yeah, it's gonna mess with our whole animation. Never mind. We'll just go with a simple kind of test stretch for now. Probably more stretch here. Maybe even way more here, because it's so fast. You can really flirt around with that in the limbs. And it'll feel better when it's stretching from the right pivot point. But I think that gives us a good rough guide here to follow for his hang time and his web shot off, as well as his holds, which could have taken a lot more time to experiment with all the rig controllers to see what works. So now we can kind of copy this over to the cog and have a good base to start with.
Now click or tap the screen for more animation lessons, and I will see you in the next Spider-Verse Jump Challenge. Happy animating. Thwip.